Welcome to a week of workouts as somebody who is not really naturally that sporty or naturally that athletic. Now, you might be wondering, why are you making this video? I see so many different training videos week in my life, and you know what? I really enjoy watching them, but they're usually by very athletic people doing some very impressive things. And I just thought it was time to show you the routine of somebody who is not a professional athlete by any means and is nowhere even close to being a professional athlete. I'm just doing it because I really love it. I found fitness in my mid to late 20s, I would say. I've never had like a really consistent relationship with it. I hated it at school, never was a part of any clubs or anything like that. As I've got older, I've just figured out what works for me, how I like to work out, and I'm going to share that with you this week. Running is kind of my thing at the minute, but I'm not actually training for anything right now. I'm just focusing on some shorter distances, going to the gym, my newfound love for Pilates, which I will talk about, and just trying to be an active person. If you've never watched one of my videos before, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here. This is the softer side of fitness YouTube. There is no working out till total exhaustion or entering any sort of pain cave. I don't want to be involved with any of those things. They just don't work for me. I like to be flexible, prioritize things that I enjoy and things that I just find fun, because I think life's too short to be doing things that you hate. So if that sounds like your thing, I think you're going to enjoy this week. I just made the most disgusting bowl of oats I've ever eaten in my entire life. Welcome to a new week. So I really like forcing myself to exercise on a Monday. I just find that it really starts my week off right, and I think if I start the week by exercising, I'm way more likely to stick to those healthy routines throughout the week. What I do on a Monday honestly kind of depends on how I'm feeling, if I did any particularly long runs the day before or on the Saturday. This week I did a leg session because I wasn't doing anything strenuous the few days before that, so I felt up to kind of pushing it a little bit, and it also means I get one of my bigger sessions done right at the start of the week, which we love. I didn't film the actual leg session just because I hate filming in gyms, especially when there's people around. I just find it the most like soul-destroyingly embarrassing thing in the world. But I will put an overlay of what I did in the gym on this leg day if you are interested in seeing what I did. I have now got to do my tempo run, which is the one that I've been terrified of doing, because tempo runs, in my opinion, are the worst kind of runs because you don't really get a break. Can't catch a break with these runs. But it's fine. I know I'm going to feel so much better once it's done, and I know that I've conquered it. Just would rather not be doing it. I put all of my running jackets under the bed, thinking I would need them, but it's actually freezing this week. So I need to figure out if I'm gonna open the bed, which is a big job. I know it doesn't sound like it. And here is where the third workout comes. Now, this is one of my speed sessions. This week was a tempo run. So for my speed sessions, I usually do a tempo run or an interval run. If you don't know, an interval run is basically when you run slightly shorter distances and then you have a little rest in between sets. It's hard, but the rest is so sweet and lovely that it kind of makes up for it. A tempo run, which is also another kind of speed workout, is, in my opinion, 10 times worse than any interval session on this planet, because you run continuously. You're not really supposed to take little breaks. I do, because I'm a rule breaker and I like a break, but you're not really supposed to, okay? I'm going to put an example of an interval session on this side and a tempo session on this side, just so you can get an idea of the differences. It might be easier to see it rather than me chatting rubbish at you. These are the sessions that I really have to have a kind of sit down with myself and be like, you might not enjoy this, but if you want to get more efficient with your running and maybe get a bit faster, then you should be doing these sessions. And they're one of those sessions where, yes, they might feel awful while you're doing it, but honestly, like, I've never regretted doing one once it's done. But as I said, I am a bit of a rule breaker, and I do like to make things a little bit easier for myself when I need it. So sometimes I'll take a little bit of a walking break when I'm not supposed to, and that's absolutely fine. I was like, I really can't be asked to do this, but I've been out for like 10 minutes, if that. And I'm already glad that I'm out, so you think I'd learn by now, but I don't. So I've got a 2.4k warm up, going into some tempo intervals, and then a cool down. My run is done. It's I did 6k, which I'm happy with. Was it perfect? No, but I did it.
And also, like, there was a time when I couldn't run 6k. So I just need to remember that sometimes when it feels like everything is so hard, like, you need to look back and just remember how far you've actually come, because it's so easy to forget. So, although it wasn't perfect, it's another run ticked off, and mentally I feel better for it as well, so proud.
But yeah, those are my speed sessions, and I think I said I do one of those a week. It usually alternates, so like one week it's an interval, the next week it's a tempo, and so on. On the plan today was supposed to be, or is, shall I say, is a 7k easy run. Now, I have made the decision to change my easy runs slightly, and I'm going to tell you why I'm doing that, and maybe it will help someone else out there as well. I also always feel like I just have to say, as a big disclaimer, I have no idea what I'm talking about, in the sense of, like, I'm not a running coach. I am just trying out different things that work for me. I'm still very new in this whole running thing. I've been running for coming up to 2 years, which might sound like a lot, but I just feel like I've so much more to learn. As I've mentioned throughout the start of this video, I didn't grow up sporty or particularly athletic, okay? So I feel like as I've got into fitness as an adult, I just have a lot of catching up to do. And I know that I've done a lot of different runs, but I still feel unfit most of the time. And I think that is a big part. I think a big part of that is because running is such a mental challenge, as well as it is a physical challenge. And I think that if you can have a strong mind, then you'll do really well in running, which is why I think I've been able to do these distances. One thing that I really struggle with, and I'm sure a lot of beginner runners and people with no background in sport or exercise like me really struggle with, and that is having a high heart rate for what should be easy runs, or just having a high heart rate no matter what exercise you're doing. I find it really, really difficult to keep my heart rate low when I'm doing my easy runs. For anybody that doesn't know, an easy run is like a running term, I guess, when it comes to your training plan. It's like one of 3 different runs that you can do, and an easy run usually means that you stay in a zone 2 heart rate, which is your aerobic heart rate zone, where you build up endurance, and you shouldn't leave the run feeling particularly tired, and it should mean that you are able to recover in between all the other runs that you're doing, essentially. No matter how slow I run, I am either out of breath, where it feels hard, well, not hard, but harder than it should, or my heart rate is like 160. I think my average heart rate for most runs is probably around 160 to 165, which for me, according to my watch, is around zone 3. So I just come to the conclusion that maybe I'm not building that base that my body really needs, and instead I'm overexerting myself in a lot of my training, and maybe I'm not recovering enough because I'm always just doing too much. So basically, long story short, I have decided that I'm really going to try and stick to my zone 2 when I'm doing these easy runs. As I said, I really struggle with keeping a low heart rate no matter how slow I run. So basically what I've been doing is just trying to get my heart rate to stay in that zone, and the easiest way that I found to do this is by walking on an incline on a treadmill. I could also do the bike because my heart rate stays a lot more stable on the bike, but for the most part I've been opting for the treadmill, mainly because my treadmill in the gym has big screens. I can watch Netflix. Okay, that's why. So I can watch Queer Eye or whatever the hell I want while I am walking on an incline, and aiming for my heart rate zone to be anywhere between 130 to 140, 145. And I've decided that I'm going to be doing this now for at least a month. I think I will need to do it longer to see any changes. So I feel like this is me kind of going back to basics a little bit, and there's definitely no shame in going a bit off piece with your training and trying something different that works for you. And I'm by all means not saying that this is going to work. I genuinely have no idea. I've just read quite a bit about the importance of zone 2 training. And I know there's so many conflicting arguments online, which again makes figuring out what to do really fucking hard, because you'll find a really good argument for one sort of training and someone else will have the complete opposite argument. But I'm really willing to give it a go, and it's not gonna You know, it's not going to harm me. If anything, it'll be a nice mix up. It will mean that I'm only actually running twice a week, which I'm not mad about. I'm not training for anything at the minute. Sometimes I don't want to run 3 times a week, and you know what, that is fine. So I might make a whole separate video on this, just because I'm so interested to see if there are any changes. So it's Thursday. I've literally been sat here pretty much all day, although I feel like I'm having one of those weeks where, you know, you're just not really productive. Like, you're doing things, but you still feel like you still have more to do. And I don't know, I feel like last week I was really productive, and this week I'm just struggling. But I guess you can't be slaying. I feel like I'm too old to say slaying now. You can't be slaying every week, do you know what I mean? This week is a semi-slay. The start of the week was good. I'm kind of like slowly teetering off this week. But Thursdays I've really come to enjoy, because I use ClassPass, which it's like a app that gives you buy credits for, and you can do classes at loads of different gyms or studios. And I do one class a week, and I've been doing the same Pilates class every week on a Thursday evening, and I just really enjoy it. I'm not particularly good at Pilates. It's so hard, even though the movements that you do are quite small, like little, and do you know what I mean? I don't know. What was I saying? Basically, I do Pilates every Thursday now, and I really like it. I think this is my like 6th or 7th week in a row that I've been going. Not really getting any better, but I really enjoy it, and it's a nice break from running or going to the gym, and it just gives me a bit more structure to my week, and I just really enjoy it. So I'm going to be doing Pilates today. There's been no running or anything else on the cards today. Today is a nice day. Today is my favourite thing of the week. It actually has become a highlight. Then I got crisps. Then I got some really overpriced, I mean, I'm the idiot for buying these, but it's literally dark chocolate banana. But they're frozen, which I thought was quite cool. But yeah, that was like £4, which was stupid to buy. Then I bought some more maple syrup, of agave syrup. And that's it. And then just my Kindle and my water. Oh, what's this? Oh, how could I forget? Ginger, orange, and vanilla tea. That's it. Literally just went in to get dinner and ended up spending 22 quid. And finally, my 5th workout of the week was my long run. Depending on what you're training for, it will depend on how long your long run is. This week, mine was a 10k, which is just over 6 miles, I think. Right, it's a long run day, which for me is a 10k at a conversational pace, so that means that I'll be able to hold a conversation. And as I've just started talking, I've realised that actually I need to slow down maybe a little bit. But yeah, I won't be looking at my pace today. Going off purely vibes, which isn't scientific, but it works. I probably will run walk just because that's what I prefer to do, but you just got to figure out what works for you and go with that. I've got podcasting, which I usually quite like to do for these like more chilled runs, because then I'm not like getting carried away, you know. So I'm currently coming up to 1 kilometre in. So yeah, running to the park. And I just try to enjoy it. I think long runs can be really tricky and super, super scary, especially if you're a beginner runner or you're starting to venture out to longer distances. Really worried about this run. I don't know why. I think because I'm a slower runner, like a 10k run is easily over an hour and 10 minutes for me, which, like, I know it feels like it's normalised, but that's a long time to be running and on your feet for. So, and because I'm out of a big training block in the minute, like I'm not training for anything, that feels quite scary. But then when I actually just like ignore that and go out for a run, I just feel so much better. So there's going to be so many times when you feel like you can't do it, and the more you sit in it and the more you skip the runs, the more it feels like you can't do it. Then you'll get outside and you'll realise, even if you've got certain paces that you have to hit,
you can still run, you just slow it down or take walk breaks. Like, I feel like we all think we need to run a certain way, but actually we need to unlearn that and just find what works for you, especially for people like us maybe, where we've not ran our whole lives, we're not super fit. Like, it takes time to build all this up, and I just wish that I and loads of other people would just have a bit more patience with themselves. Anyway, back to my run. I'm trying to run as slow as I can without getting too out of breath. I usually walk, but I'm walking little bits, but just want to try something different. Anyway, I just want to show you that we are all running our own race, going at our own pace. We have to start somewhere. Don't feel embarrassed if you are running at a slower pace around other people. It's just part of it. Everybody has started somewhere, and what's the alternative? Like, you just don't go out and run because you're too worried about what other people think. That's not going to get you anywhere. So you just got to say fuck you in your head, not out loud, to these people, and just get on with it. Right, my friends, we are halfway through this glorious run. I am in such a better mood. Not that I was in a bad mood this morning, but I was worried, as I told you. Feeling good, halfway through, 5k, 42 minutes and 30 seconds. And yeah, the halfway mark went really quick. Just gonna turn around now and head home. And that's my long run of the week done. To some people watching this 10k might sound like loads, it might sound like not a lot, but if you're one of the peoples where it sounds like really far, as you gradually build up, you will get used to it more and more, because trust me, oh my god, I was terrified of running a 10k. To be fair, sometimes I still am, if I'm out of the groove. But honestly, if you've got a training plan that slowly builds up, you'll be doing 10k's like there's no tomorrow. And yeah, I'm going to give you some tips once I'm sat back down. I can think a bit more clearly of things to help you get through longer runs as a slower runner, or as someone who's not mega fit and struggles. I just can't always think straight when I'm running. So I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I will check back in.
And just remember to look around. Try not to keep looking at your watch. Take in what you're seeing people watch. All those things I think are really overlooked. Just try and be present. At the end of the day, the fact that you're out on a long run, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you should be very, very proud. The thing that I always tell myself if I'm like feeling really crap on a run, or I feel like I can't do it, if you just think, well, it doesn't matter how long it takes me to get there, I'll get there when I get there, it takes rid of any pressure that you have on yourself, and you can truly be in the moment and enjoy it. And that's really what I like to do. If I get to a point where I'm like, this is so hard, it's like, yeah, it's hard, you're not doing an easy thing, but you can make it easier by being a bit kinder to yourself. So yeah, and there we go. That was my week of workouts. As I said, that was a good week of workouts. Not every week looks like that. I think the main thing about working out, and I wish I had learned this many moons ago, because it would have saved me years of thinking that I hated working out, and actually I didn't. The main thing is you need to find something that you enjoy, and that might mean trying a few different things over a few months or however long. Spend time finding things that you enjoy. You might hate running, okay? And that's fine. I'm not saying you need to start running, but there will be something out there that you love just as much as I love running. And I think if you prioritize enjoyment over any fitness goal that you have, in the long term, you will reach those goals because you're doing something that you love. So it might not feel like a chore. Obviously there's going to be times when the last thing that you want to do is work out, and that's fine. But I think if you love what you're doing, or you enjoy what you're doing, rather than trying to do something because you think that you should do it because everybody else is doing it, you're just going to get so much from it. And life is too short to force yourself to do things that you don't want to do, because newsflash, you don't have to do them, okay? There are so many different forms of exercise out there that you can do. You don't need to choose the one that everybody else is doing or that's trendy. It's really important to spend, sorry, I'm getting blinded by the light. It's so important to spend time figuring out what you like, and that might look different to other people. And yeah, if you're just starting out, maybe don't start off with 5 days of workouts a week. I think 5 days is quite a lot. Obviously they kind of range in intensity, but if you're just starting out, honestly, start gradually. Start 1 day a week, 2 days a week, and slowly build up, because I think jumping into 5 days a week, you will burn out really, really quickly. I feel like I just have to put that in there as a disclaimer. I did not start working out 5 days a week from the start. It was a very slow and gradual build to the point where my body is kind of used to moving a bit more now than it used to. So there we go. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and it gave you a bit of an insight into what my training looks like as somebody who is still definitely learning how to love fitness, how it plays a part in my life, and someone who's just prioritizing enjoyment over anything else, because I think that is all that matters. So if you enjoyed this video, leave me a comment and subscribe. That would be lovely, and I will see you in the next video.